Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a really essential resource, Parenting Children with ADHD, 10 Lessons That Medicine Cannot Teach by Dr. Vincent J. Monastra.
Great book. Really practical.
Absolutely. And our mission today is to go, well, far beyond just the typical medical discussions around ADHD.
Right.
This book offers such a comprehensive, kind of holistic approach, weaving together medical, nutritional, educational, psychological, and importantly, parenting strategies.
Yeah, he really brings it all together. Dr. Monastra synthesizes, decades of experience into these actionable lessons.
And they're presented so clearly, sequentially, with these practical lifelines for parents, things you can use right away.
Definitely. And it's interesting, he actually revisited this book 10 years after the first edition.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and by then he had younger children himself, which he says gave him this renewed, deeply personal perspective.
That was a lot.
It does. He talks about this watershed moment from 25 years ago. He observed two teenage boys with ADHD, and their families tried completely opposite things. One offered a brand new car for good grades.
Wow, big incentive.
Huge. And the other used total grounding for any misbehavior. Severe punishment. Both failed. Completely ineffective. It really highlights how traditional rewards or punishments often just miss the mark entirely for kids with ADHD.
That really sets the stage for why his approach is different. It shows the unique motivation challenges.
Exactly. The usual playbook often doesn't work.
Okay, let's unpack this then. What is ADHD really, according to Dr. Monastra, beyond the usual descriptions?
Well, fundamentally, he defines it by the degree of inattention, hyperactivity, or impulsivity. It has to significantly interfere with success.
Success where?
At home, school, work, even in social relationships. It's about functional impairment. And the diagnosis follows the DSM-5 criteria.
Right, the standard diagnostic manual.
Symptoms need to have started by age 12, happen in at least two settings, like home and school. They have to cause real functional problems. And this is crucial. They are not caused by another mental or physical disorder.
That last point feels really important. Not caused by something else.
It is. And it's a major concern he raises.
How so?
Well, he points out that physicians often fail to adequately screen for other medical or physical conditions that can actually mimic ADHD symptoms.
Like what kind of conditions?
Oh, things like undiagnosed diabetes, anemia, hypoglycemia, thyroid problems, certain allergies, sleep disorders, even vision or hearing issues.
Wow, that's a wide range.
It is. And even deficiencies in key nutrients like vitamin D, calcium, zinc, magnesium can look like ADHD.
So if that screening is missed?
The consequences can be significant, right? You might end up with the wrong treatment, unnecessary medication, and just prolonged struggles for the child and the whole family.
That's huge. So when do these kids typically get referred for an evaluation? Are there common ages?
Yeah, Dr. Monastra sees a few patterns. First, often between ages 3 and 5.
The preschool years.
Right. Parents are just exhausted. The child is impulsive, hyperactive, they're terrified of injuries, and normal discipline just doesn't work.
Okay, that makes sense. What's another period?
High school. This is often where previously undiagnosed kids really struggle. They get labeled unmotivated. Academics suffer, maybe truancy, lots of discipline issues. Everyone knows they're smart, but listening, directions, concentrating, finishing work, it's incredibly hard.
The cycle of frustration, I imagine.
Totally. And then sometimes it's young adulthood.
Later on?
Yeah. They might present with, significant substance abuse, legal job instability, maybe aggression.
And the parents connect the dots back.
Exactly. The parents might look back and suddenly see this pattern of inattention or impulsivity stretching back to childhood, and they hope an ADHD diagnosis might finally explain it all.
It sounds like a long journey for some families.
It can be. But through all of it, Monastra's message is clear. Parents are the child's best advocate. They have to be the primary teacher in this process, no matter who else is involved.
That's empowering. Okay, so moving on, the book really tackles some common misconceptions, especially about causes and medication. What does he say causes ADHD?
He's very clear. ADHD is a medical condition, primarily inherited. It's not caused by bad parenting or spoiling or, eating too much sugar, though diet can affect symptoms.
So it's biological. Fundamentally.
Yes. The core issue he describes is in the brain specifically, inactivity or under-arousal in the frontal lobe, especially the prefrontal cortex.
Okay, what does that part of the brain do?
It's crucial for things like attention, concentration, working memory, basically the brain's executive functions. It
Yeah.
helps you block distractions and focus.
So if it's underaroused.
Everything gets harder, following instructions, thinking before acting, staying on task. He also mentions neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin are key for communication between brain cells and kind of waking up that brain region.
Right. So if the brain's underaroused, how do medications fit in? What's their role?
Well, medications are the most common treatment, and they are FDA approved. You've got stimulants like methylphenidate-based drugs or amphetamine-based ones.
Ritalin, Adderall, those kinds of things.
Those types. They generally work by boosting brain chemicals related to focus. Then there are non-stimulants, too, like certain antihypertensives or norepinephrine reuptake inhibitors. They work differently but also help regulate attention.
But he stresses they aren't a cure, right?
Absolutely not. That's a critical point. They don't cure ADHD. They help manage or improve the core symptoms by enabling better brain function. Think of it as helping the brain work more typically.
So they make it possible to function better.
Exactly. He also mentions other meds like mood stabilizers or antidepressants might occasionally be used for severe anxiety or anger, but he stresses they're rarely needed if you first carefully address the basics: sleep, diet, and rule out other medical issues.
Okay, he uses an analogy for medication, doesn't he? Something about a knee brace.
He does. The knee brace analogy is really insightful.
How so? What's the takeaway?
The takeaway is that the medication doesn't fix the underlying issue, just like a brace doesn't fix a torn ligament. But it supports function. It enables a person to do the physical therapy, or in this case, to learn and use the other strategies.
Ah, I see. It helps you do the work.
Precisely. And it highlights that the medication needs to work for the child's entire day, not just school hours. Success at home, during homework, in activities that all matters to.
So monitoring its effects is key.
Crucial, especially after school. He talks about using reliable computerized tests like the IVA, 2VA, Connor CPT. These measure attention objectively.
Yeah.
And also quantitative EEGs, QEEGs. They basically map brainwave activity.
Like see how the brain is firing.
Sort of, yeah. It shows physiological signs of brain activation. This data helps doctors fine-tune the medication type and dose until the brain patterns are closer to age expectations.
And it helps figure out if problems are still medical or maybe something else.
Exactly. It helps differentiate medical factors from, say, motivational issues or learning problems that need different solutions.
Okay, this is making sense. So beyond medication, let's talk lifestyle. Nutrition and sleep. What can parents practically do with food?
This is where parents can have a huge impact. Nutrition first. Sugary foods, high-carb meals, they give that quick boost, right?
Yeah, the sugar rush.
But then comes the crash. Alertness drops fast, insulin gets released, and it lets all your cells grab glucose, not just the brain cells, so less fuel for the brain.
Oh, interesting.
Plus, high-carb meals can actually promote tryptophan getting into the brain. Tryptophan makes calming neurotransmitters, so you get drowsy.
So that post-lunch slump is real biochemically.
Very real, especially for focus.
So if carbs are tricky, what's the alternative? What should kids be eating for brain function?
Protein, that's the cornerstone he emphasizes. Starting the day without protein really sets kids up for poor attention and concentration later.
Breakfast is key then.
Breakfast and lunch especially. Protein is crucial for sustained brain function. And he notes, a great dinner doesn't make up for a lousy breakfast.
Good point. What about picky eaters? That's a common struggle.
Yeah, he acknowledges that. The advice is practical. Make easily digestible, desirable, protein-rich foods available. Find what works. He also highlights key minerals.
Minerals.
Yes. Deficiencies can actually cause ADHD-like symptoms. Iron is vital for oxygen to the brain and making neurotransmitters like dopamine.
Okay, where do you find iron?
Cereals, meats, peas, potatoes. Then there's zinc involved in tons of enzyme activities, including making neurotransmitters, found in cereals, beef, beans, turkey.
Got it. What else?
Magnesium, involved in over 300 enzyme reactions, helps build the myelin sheath around nerves and makes neurotransmitters for attention. Meats, nuts, soybeans, spinach are good sources.
And calcium.
Critical for releasing neurotransmitters. Not enough calcium can impair attention and even emotional control. Dairy and meats are obvious sources.
Okay, so protein and ensuring these key minerals are covered. What about sleep? You mentioned it's foundational.
Absolutely foundational. Monastra calls sleep deficits the joker in the deck when treating ADHD.
The joker, meaning unpredictable.
Yeah, it can mess everything up. If sleep isn't right, attention and mood will suffer no matter what else you do. Addressing sleep is paramount.
So what are the recommendations?
First, cut out bright screens, TVs, tablets, smartphones at least an hour and a half before bed. The blue light really interferes with melatonin production.
That's a tough one these days.
It is, but crucial. Interestingly, he suggests a high-carbohydrate snack before bed can sometimes help.
Really? Like ice cream?
Yeah, or milk and cereal. It might help with sleep onset for some. Melatonin supplements, low dose, like 1-3 milligrams, taken maybe 1.5 to 2 hours before bed, can also be useful.
And if those don't work?
Then a doctor might consider a trial of certain antihypertensive meds like clonidine or gronfacine just in the evening to help establish healthy sleep habits. It's usually temporary.
Okay. Any other sleep tips?
Yes. Physical activity. Daily, full-body cardiovascular exercise, swimming, biking, dancing, whatever the child enjoys. It really helps regulate sleep.
Like tiring out the body prepares the brain for rest. Makes sense.
Exactly.
Okay, moving on. Let's say you have the diagnosis. You're working on meds, nutrition, sleep. What about school? Navigating that system can be daunting.
Hugely daunting, but critical. After getting that diagnosis from a qualified professional physician, psychologist, clinical social worker, the next step is a formal written request.
To whom?
To the School District's Committee on Special Education, or CSE. You request an evaluation to see how the ADHD impacts their school performance.
Okay, so it's a formal process. What does that evaluation look like?
It usually involves a few things. Individual testing of intelligence in academics, reading, math, writing, also classroom observations, and questionnaires for teachers, like the FCT checklist.
Functional assessment checklist for teachers.
Right. It gathers teacher perspectives on how the child functions in the classroom environment.
And if the evaluation shows ADHD is impacting school?
Then it meets the requirements under IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. That means the school is legally obligated to provide support.
What kind of support?
The CSE develops either an Individualized Education Plan, IEP, or a 504 Accommodation Plan. It's tailored to the child's specific functional impairments.
Can you give some examples of accommodations?
Sure. It could be things like extra time on tests or assignments, simplified directions, maybe getting worksheets, one at a time instead of a big packet.
Practical things.
Very practical. Reduced reading levels, maybe needing fewer correct answers to show mastery, using voice recognition software, taking tests in a quiet room.
Lots of options.
Definitely. Study skills training, homework buddies, having an extra set of textbooks at home, daily or weekly progress reports between school and home. The list goes on.
The key seems to be advocating for what your specific child needs.
Absolutely. Monastra really hammers this home. Don't give away your child's educational rights. Parents need to be fierce advocates.
Okay. Beyond school support, what about other training, like those brain training programs?
Ah, yes, attention training programs. There are options like CogMed or Captain's Log. They can be pricey, maybe $1,000 to $2,000.
Yeah. Any cheaper ones?
Lumosity is much more affordable, like $5 to $7 a month.
Do they work?
Well, published research shows short-term improvements in attention and working memory after, say, 30 or 40 sessions. One study even found some neurological benefits.
But, I sense a but.
Yeah. The but is that the effects often aren't sustained once the training stops. And the skills gained might not always transfer well to other different kinds of tasks.
So it's not a permanent fix.
Not usually, no. He uses the analogy of a brain gym.
Like physical exercise.
Exactly. The benefits stick around only as long as you keep practicing. It might not help much with hyperactivity, but it can make it easier for the child to learn other skills. It strengthens that attention muscle, so to speak.
Got it. Good perspective. Now, this brings us to maybe the trickiest part for many parents, motivation. How do you motivate a child with ADHD when, like you said, the usual rewards and punishments fall flat?
This is where Monastra introduces a really core concept, one of his lifelines. The work for play model.
Work for play. Okay. Why do traditional methods fail so often?
Because children with ADHD often need motivation for almost everything. Simple bribes, those big all-or-nothing deals like the car example, they just don't work consistently.
And punishments.
Severe punishments can be ineffective or even backfire. Like getting suspended from school might feel like a vacation to some kids, right? It doesn't teach the right lesson.
True. So what's the principle behind work for play?
It's simple but powerful. In life, you get what you work for. There are no free rides. That's the message to instill.
So instead of bribing,
you rethink how kids earn the daily pleasures they usually get for free, regardless of behavior. Things like TV time, video games, playing outside, sports practice.
I mean, make those things contingent on behavior or completing tasks?
Exactly. He talks about minimizing sacred cows, those activities the child gets to do no matter what. If a child misbehaves, maybe they need to do a corrective action before they get to do the fun thing.
Corrective action, like what?
We'll get to that. But the idea is privileges are earned, not entitlements.
I can see how setting that up requires real diligence. What are the pitfalls? What makes it hard for parents, especially if the child is older and used to getting those things freely?
Consistency is definitely the hardest part. And designing it well, home behavior charts or token economies can work, but you have to think through the loopholes.
Loopholes?
Yeah, you need to simulate how it will actually play out. Can the child ignore the rules and still get what they want somehow? Monastra stresses if kids feel like there's nothing I can do to earn what I want, they just give up. Motivation dies.
So there has to be a way to succeed to earn things back.
Absolutely. The system needs ways to make up or make amends. He introduces another lifeline here called time stands still.
How is that different from a regular timeout?
It has no set time limit. Timeout ends when the timer goes off. Time stands still ends when the child complies with the request and makes up for any disrespect or delay.
So the child is in control of when it ends.
Exactly. The longer they refuse or argue, the more they might have to do to make amends later before they can get back to playing or privileges. It puts the responsibility squarely on them.
And it teaches them to apologize and fix things.
Yes. Making amends isn't just saying sorry, it's often doing something nice for the parent or fixing the problem they caused by balking at responsibilities.
That sounds powerful, but challenging to implement consistently.
It takes practice and commitment for sure.
Okay, what about those huge emotional reactions, the meltdowns over small things that can just derail everything?
Emotional regulation. That's a big one for kids with ADHD. Because of those difficulties regulating the frontal lobe, they can have these really intense reactions.
Like the example, I wish I were dead over math homework.
Exactly. Or huge threats over minor disappointments. The key insight Monastra offers is that these intense outbursts don't necessarily mean true depression or deep trauma. Often they blow over quickly if you don't feed the fire.
Don't feed the fire, meaning don't argue back.
Right. Don't try to reason with a child in the middle of an emotional storm. Instead, encourage calming strategies, deep breaths, maybe sips of water. Quietly remind them that the longer the outburst goes on, the more making amends they'll have to do later.
Okay, keep calm yourself. And then what? After they calm down?
Once calm, there are steps. Apologize. Do the corrective action or positive practice, and then obey the original request that might have triggered it.
And help them find better ways to handle it next time.
Yes. Problem solving is key. Help them identify their need. What did you actually want? What's a better way to ask for that or make that happen? Teach collaboration over demands or, tantrums.
It's about teaching skills, not just reacting to behavior.
Exactly. And he does note sometimes if stimulant meds aren't quite enough for anger control, those antihypertensive medications like clonidine or ketepers can help. They affect adrenaline receptors and can reduce aggressive outbursts.
Good to know there are options. Okay, as we get near the end here, Dr. Monastra broadens the view. He talks about instilling deeper values and also, crucially, about parent self-care. Let's start with values.
Yeah, this section really shifts the focus beyond just getting compliance. It's about teaching the traits that lead to real well-being and, happiness.
Like what kinds of traits?
Generosity, compassion, kindness, optimism, resilience, inquisitiveness, self-confidence, things that make life meaningful.
How do you teach those abstract things?
He gives great concrete examples, like he personally talked with his sons about the cost of a huge Lego Death Star, $399.
Wow.
And compared it to what that money could do, like feeding a child in Africa for a whole year. His sons chose to donate the money. That's a powerful lesson in generosity and perspective.
That's a fantastic example. Any others?
Yes, the idea of a positive practice, another lifeline. Instead of just negative punishment taking things away, you have kids practice doing it the right way.
How does that work?
As example, two brothers were fighting over one bag of Cheetos. Instead of just taking the Cheetos away, he had them practice politely sharing the bag back and forth, saying please and thank you. They ended up laughing. It turned into a positive experience of generosity instead of just punishment. Another one. A kid kept missing ground balls in baseball.
Hmm.
Instead of yelling, the coach had him practice just getting his glove down low using a marble rolling on the ground over and over until the correct action felt automatic.
Building muscle memory for the right behavior.
Exactly. And he talks about parents guiding kids to help after a natural disaster, bringing toys to shelters, helping clean up. That fostered kindness and taught resilience by seeing how others coped with loss.
It sounds like experiencing these virtues is reinforcing in itself.
That's a key insight. Often, the feeling of being generous or kind is the reward. It requires less external management over time.
Okay, that's powerful. And now, the last piece, but maybe the most important for sustainability, parent self-care.
Oh, absolutely crucial. He's very direct. Being the parent of a child with ADHD often means you're constantly acting as their substitute frontal lobe, their external brain, and that is incredibly draining.
I can only imagine. So parents burn out easily.
Very easily. So prioritizing their own well-being isn't selfish. It's essential for being able to help their child effectively.
What practical self-care strategies does he suggest?
He gives 5 specific ones. First, do at least 3 things every single day just because you enjoy them. Simple things: watch a show, eat a favorite snack, listen to music, read for fun. Little joys.
Okay. Manageable. What else?
Second, parental nutrition matters too. Parents need that protein at breakfast and lunch, just like their kids, to keep their own mental energy up. Protein shakes or bars can be quick options.
Good reminder. We focus on the kids' diet, but forget our own.
Exactly. Third, keep your own dreams alive. Make a wish list. Think about things you'd like to do. Starting something new, even small, can be energizing.
Keep aspirations going.
Fourth, nurture your key relationships, especially with a partner. Aim for 3 love meals a day, small acts that genuinely show love and appreciation, and schedule weekly dedicated alone time together, maybe even seasonal overnight trips if possible.
Invest in the partnership.
Yes, and fifth, sleep. Aim for at least 7 hours a night yourself. You can't run on empty.
These all sound so basic, yet so easy to let slide.
That's exactly his point. He says the basics for the child: diet, sleep, meds, school plan, and parent self-care are the 2 areas where efforts most often falter. But they are absolutely fundamental for long-term success. If you're struggling as a parent, look there first.
Wow. This deep dive really paints a picture of a truly comprehensive, systematic approach. It's not just one thing, is it?
Not at all. It's integrating everything: medical, nutritional, educational, behavioral, emotional, values, and wrapping it all in that essential parent self-care.
It really feels like a roadmap, helping parents guide these kids so they can learn and truly thrive.
And Dr. Monastra really believes in these kids. He calls them diamonds in the rough, extraordinary individuals with so much potential.
Yeah.
The goal we all share, he says, is to ensure they aren't discarded because of their challenges, but that they build confidence, self-esteem, and can go on to make their unique contributions. It's about unlocking that potential.
A really hopeful message grounded in practical steps. So as we wrap up, here's something for you, our listeners, to think about. Consider just one small area in your child's routine, or maybe even your own, where you could apply one principle from this deep dive this week. Maybe it's shifting from just taking away a privilege to creating a clear way for them to earn it back. Or maybe it's prioritizing one simple act of self-care that you've been putting off. What new virtue, like patience or generosity, might you start practicing more intentionally yourself to model it for your child? How could that one small shift change the dynamic in your home? Something to mull over.